Halfway through the first day of April 1st, and no jokes here, the tech-heavy NASDAQ is up substantially, but Palantir is down. So what's going on? It's pretty clear it's based on one thing, and I'll tell you what it is. Hey everyone in the community, welcome back to the channel. For anyone new here, my name is Kevin, and we talk a lot about Palantir. In fact, we've talked about them before they went public, over a month before in fact. Now obviously there's a lot of interest in Palantir, so I talk about them pretty frequently on the channel. Now, not every day, because this really isn't a Palantir fan site like a lot of other channels are, but it's been a while since I talked about them, and while I have been planning on putting out a video, sort of like a state of the company based on where they're trading, this really wasn't it. But then today comes along and Palantir stock is trading lower while, again, most of the tech stocks are up. So I thought it just would make sense to talk about probably the one big reason as to why the stock is down and what that means for you as far as an investor. So let's take a look at the news. So let's look at an article for Barron's that really talks about the big reason that's going on here. And it says, as from the title, Palantir CEO Karp discloses $10.3 million stock sale, and that's the tip of the iceberg. This is a pretty good article, and again, we'll go through it quickly, but I will link the article in the description for you if you want to check it out. I definitely encourage you to do that. So the article starts off talking about how Alex Carp sold over $10 million worth of shares this week, and then those were disclosed in the Securities and Exchange Commission. So looking at the article, we see that Carp sold over 460,000 shares of Palantir stock, and those prices range from in the mid $21 range up to the mid $23 range, and that happened over the last 3 days of the month of March. And then this article then goes on to mention how Stephen Cohen had recently sold some shares, and again, I think we talked about that in that last video, which really again was based on shares becoming more available just because the lockup agreements have expired. And so we'll talk about that here in a second, but just to finish up the article, it talks about how Carp is likely to sell even more shares in the coming months, and it talks about the stock options that were granted in 2009 with strike prices of 10.3 cents that will expire on the December 3rd, and that there's another 8 million options granted in 2018 with a strike price of 85 cents that also expire December 3rd. So then, according to the article, with exercising those options, which of course he'll do, it'll cost over $12 million to do it, but he will receive stock worth $1.6 billion. And the idea here is again that because of this big discrepancy, there's going to be a lot of capital gains there. So he's definitely going to use those proceeds from the sale to pay for that tax bill. And so then here's just really quickly, here's the SEC filing. Again, just if you haven't seen it before, these are all publicly available. And again, you can follow these and track them. But again, this is, as you can see, from Alex Carp. The earliest transaction was 3/29 of this year. And again, you can see the transaction dates are listed here. And again, it tells you how many shares and what prices they were sold at. If you're really like looking into these things, you do have access to that, and all publicly available from the SEC website. And then just quickly to go back, we can take a look at the stock price, and we can see that as of this time of the recording, which is just about 1:30 Eastern, the stock is trading at $22.81. So sometimes when I do these videos in the middle of the trading day, things change by the end of the day, so sometimes you probably wonder what I'm talking about. In this case, again, the shares are trading at down about 2%. So just wanted to put that in there. All right, so to finish up this video, these sales of shares should not surprise you. We knew after the lockups expired that we were going to see more of these. This is common. This is what happens with all companies. This isn't a sign that Alex Carp thinks that the stock price is going to bottom out and he's trying to sell and get what he can. It has nothing to do with that. So as investors, I don't think you should take it like, okay, Alex Carp is bailing on his Palantir stock, and we should probably bail too. That's not what this is about. But from a technical or fundamental perspective, there is a block of shares out there, fairly large block that have now hit the market. So again, you have just more supply that's out there. And again, those kind of things can pressure the stock negatively. And that tends to happen when there's not a lot of big news coming out, and really hasn't been anything major with Palantir. And of course, a lot of this has come when a lot of tech stocks are trading lower, so you have this added pressure of more shares coming available, and then again, just tech overall struggling a little bit. Although again, today the overall tech market looking pretty good, but as far as Palantir, this seems to be the reason why the stock is struggling today, whereas yesterday it was up. No, I know a lot of you probably have been a little bit concerned that the Palantir stock has been trading in that low $20 range for a while now. But I will, just as a reminder to a lot of you guys that put in the comments that so many of you are so long on the company, you think that the company's great long term. And again, what I would just tell you is nothing has changed. So if you believe in them long term, definitely this is no reason to start selling off. It's just as I kept saying in other videos that the Palantir stock was going to face some negative downside pressure, at least in the short term, just because of all of the lockup agreements expiring. And I think a lot of people thought everybody's going to sell on day one, and it got through that and it's going to be fine. Well, there's going to be that period where more shares are going to be sold, and we're going to see that. So it doesn't mean that you have to just bail on the company, but just realize it's going to happen. And really, it's not unique to Palantir. All companies do this. So again, it's frustrating when you see your stock not going up, like we saw what the market did last year. But truly, if you really believe in the company long term, and again, I'm not debating whether you should or shouldn't, there's no reason not to stay with the company at this point. And I said in the past that when the stock was trading higher, and again we had that intraday high early in the year in the $45 range, that there was going to be that negative pressure. So if you're a short-term trader, this is obviously a concern for you. But again, these are things that we expected and we've talked about on the channel many of times. All right, so that's what I got for you today on Palantir. But remember, I do have that video that I am planning to do on the company. And again, we'll talk about Palantir stock, where it's trading, what's changed with the company since we last talked about them. And hopefully that's something you'll find helpful. So if you don't want to miss it, well, definitely make sure you're subscribed first of all. And if you are, then have that notification bell turned on. That way you'll see the video as soon as it comes out. All right, no trading tomorrow. I know for many of you it's a holiday, and I hope you have a great holiday weekend. Thanks again for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon.